He gritted his teeth and cursed angrily. Shadow Wolf is such a dumbass. He even got turned on and killed in a 3-against-1 fight. Everyone charge at me all together. I want that little trash to know the consequences of offending the Shadow Guide. Just then, a smoke bomb was suddenly thrown out by Feng Shi. It exploded at Flame Tiger's feet, instantly filling the surroundings with smoke, blocking their vision. Feng Shi immediately signaled Kuriko to retreat. Facing many plate professions and healers on the opposing side, the only choice was to run. Little Gagas quickly asked Flame Tiger if they should continue to pursue. Flame Tiger's eyes lit up when he saw this mine. He thought they ran fast, but having this treasure land was enough. This is a leveling treasure land. Quickly notify Shadow Wolf and ask them to come over. Little Gagas suddenly looked worried. After all, this area belongs to level 4 zone. It's a bit dangerous for them considering their levels. Flame Tiger immediately roared angrily upon seeing this. Don't you even know how to imitate? Haven't you seen that as long as you lure the gnoll into the smoke, you can monster grind without taking damage? Under Flame Tiger's command, the warrior is responsible for luring the gnolls from afar into the smoke. The 3 magic class professions stand far away. They keep casting skills relentlessly, and the DPS methodically begins to kill the gnolls. Seeing that he can kill monsters without taking any damage, the little Gagas immediately start to flatter him, saying that Flame Tiger will soon become the #1 player in the realm. The shadow members are watching the gnolls continuously falling to the ground, laughing heartily. Even with so many people sharing the experience points, a single gnoll can still provide a 2% boost in experience. Flame Tiger is feeling great at the moment, with experience points rapidly increasing. At this rate, reaching level 6 is just a matter of time. By then, Shadow will surely become the top guide in Maple Leaf Town, with him as the leader. Groups of gnolls are lying at the entrance of the mine, various ores and copper scattered all around. Suddenly Shadow Wolf shouts, "Something exploded here!" It turns out to be a rare skill book for a swordman. However, Flame Tiger insists on not stopping and continuing the grind. Meanwhile, not far from the Crimson Star mine, Kuriko grits their teeth in frustration. Feng asked, "Are we just going to leave it at that?" "That was information we heard from a beta player after much effort." Feng shook his head with a faint smile. "Whoever dares to steal from me, let them laugh for now. Soon they will learn what it means to laugh and sorrow together." Time was passing slowly. The effect of the smoke bomb was also slowly starting to fade. An elementalist noticed the disappearing smoke and asked Flame Tiger, "Brother Tiger, how did the smoke disperse?" Flame Tiger quickly looked over. The smoke at the entrance did indeed disperse. Just at this moment, always absent-minded. Non-aggressive gnolls. All of the people in shadow. 40+ gnolls with blood-red eyes. They let out angry roars. Finally, they spotted the ones who had been attacking them all along. The people of Shadow were suddenly shocked to see the situation. A 4th-level gnoll. It's not something they can handle at all. The gnolls immediately rushed forward in a group, roaring furiously, pounced towards the player who had been sneaking up on them all along. The level 2 refugee player was no match at all. A single strike from the level 4 gnoll, they died instantly on the spot. A large group of gnolls. They began a frenzied massacre. Players from Shadow's studio didn't even have time to react. In an instant, they were swarmed by a group of gnolls. Within a blink of an eye, several players were taken down. The members in the rear also panicked. Seeing the unfavorable situation, Flame Tiger immediately signaled everyone to retreat. However, gnolls are very fast. In no time, they caught up with the short-legged mage professions. 1 axe for each of the mages' heads. Seeing the situation turning bad, Flame Tiger, who fled away, couldn't help but feel a sense of despair. It was hard work to get everyone to level 2. Now, with 1 death, they all dropped back to level 1. With progress and setbacks like this, the dream of becoming the ruler of Maple Leaf Town was shattered. They even fell behind other guides by a large margin. After Noel took down the surrounding players, it was not satisfied. It immediately let out a roar towards the fleeing survivors. Following that, Noel quickly launched another pursuit. It pounced towards Flame Tiger and others. Compared to others at Shadow's studio, Flame Tiger's skills are clearly superior. He skillfully dodges Noel's attacks one after another. Under his desperate escape, gradually pulled away from the Noels. Only about 10 players left, with Flame Tiger being the only one alive. He dared not linger, and quickly moved away from this area. Just when he thought he had escaped the danger, a cold laugh suddenly sounded. "We meet again, nouveau riche. How come you are all alone now? Where did your little followers go? Were they all taken out by the Noels?" He once created countless wealth for Shadow Guide, only to be betrayed and have his account deleted. Returning to the opening of the realm 10 years ago, this time he will crush Shadow Guide under his feet. Being chased by the leader of Shadow, Flame Tiger, he pretended to give up the leveling treasure land. Then he used Noels to slaughter them all. Just now, after Flame Tiger fled for his life, he unexpectedly encountered Fengshe, who was watching the show. Seeing Fengshe's sardonic smile, even if Flame Tiger is stupid, he understands the Noels' rebellion. It must be Fengshe's doing. Flame Tiger was furious to the extreme. "You're dead meat, kid." He immediately picked up his shield, grabbed the battle axe emitting black light, and rushed violently towards Fengshe. Flame Tiger's attack was very powerful. The battle axe emitting black light fell instantly. But Fengshe's previous location was empty. Flame Tiger's confident strike unexpectedly missed. He stared ahead in panic. But there wasn't even a single figure in sight. Just then, Fengshe suddenly appeared behind Flame Tiger. A quick slash was struck. Flame Tiger's HP immediately dropped by 1/7. After swinging a sword, Fengshe couldn't help but sneer. "Where are you hitting? I'm right behind you." Flame Tiger is no longer calm. He quickly turned around and swung his battle axe again. Fengshe had already seen Flame Tiger's move. He took a step back, dodging easily by sidestepping. Flame Tiger, feeling humiliated, was furious. He vowed not to rest until he killed you back to level 0. Immediately, he swung the battle axe rapidly towards Fengshe. Flame Tiger's attacks couldn't even touch the agile Fengshe. With full agility, Fengshe dodged with extreme ease. After a moment, Flame Tiger stopped attacking, panting heavily. He had no way at all, so he began to taunt. "You coward! If you have the guts, don't hide. I can take you down in minutes." Fengshe agreed without hesitation. "All right, I'll just stand here without moving. Come and attack me." Flame Tiger didn't expect Fengshe to be so foolish. Just some provocation, and he immediately fell for it. He quickly raised his shield, using the charge skill against Fengshe. If Fengshe doesn't dodge, he can only fight head-on. He won't lose in terms of power. The next moment, Flame Tiger fell into despair. He had just charged to a distance of 2 yards from Fengshe when Fengshe unleashed the Storm Flash. 3 lightning bolts pierced through the shield, passed through Flame Tiger's body, and 3 high damage numbers appeared above his head. His HP dropped to 0 in an instant. Flame Tiger stared fiercely at Fengshe, spitting out blood in anger. If he hadn't charged forward on his own, there's no way that this skill could have hit him completely. Fengshe said it was purely accidental. "Nouveau riche, are you okay? I only said to stand still, not that I wouldn't fight back. Why did you charge over on your own?" "By the way, thank you, nouveau riche brother, for helping me mine so many ore materials. It saved me a lot of time." Flame Tiger immediately flew into a rage. He also wanted to say something while pointing at Fengshe. However, his body had already turned into starlight and dissipated. He couldn't say a single word. Immediately the system prompt appeared in front of him. "Player Darkblade killed you. Will respawn in Maple Leaf Town. Level decreased by 1. All skill proficiencies decreased by 100 points." The next moment, in the bustling square of Maple Leaf Town, Flashes of white light flickered. Figures kept appearing from it. Flame Tiger, who just respawned, had a livid face. His eyes were fierce enough to devour people. After regaining his composure, he immediately ordered everyone to check their backpacks. See what they have lost. Flame Tiger opened his backpack and took a look. Suddenly felt a sweet sensation in his throat. Almost spurted out a mouthful of old blood. He was prepared to use the skill book to mock Fengshe. It's gone. That was a very rare swordman skill book. It is also the most valuable item dropped by gnolls. It's gone now. He roared angrily to the sky. Gather immediately. Everyone rushed back to the place we were just at. I'll tear the guy into pieces. At that moment, Flame Tiger's communication message rang. He impatiently answered the call and started swearing directly. Who is it? What do you want from me? Then, a cold voice suddenly came through. Flame Tiger, you have quite a temper. Flame Tiger immediately smiled awkwardly. Brother Zhang, it's you. I was just giving those bastards a piece of my mind. Didn't expect you to contact me. Please don't be bothered, Brother Zhang. The man coldly said. Enough. I know all about your affairs. Let's see what you've been up to in Maple Leaf Town. I'm coming to your place now. From now on, you don't need to be the captain of Maple Leaf Town anymore. An elementalist from the team will temporarily take over. If I arrive at Maple Leaf Town and you haven't reached level 2, get lost. Shadow, don't be useless. The communication was immediately cut off. Upon hearing these words, Flame Tiger looked completely dejected. Then he burst into a roar of anger. Hatred towards Darkblade. It cannot be washed away no matter where he goes. But in Shadow Moon Valley. Picking up drops from Shadow members. Fengshe is now holding a skill book dropped by Flame Tiger. Seeing this, Kuriko burst into laughter. Flame Tiger is really something. He's leaving this for you as a gift. Windchaser, launch a rush on enemies within 30 yards and 5 yards away. Movement speed increases by 40% when charging towards the target. Attack speed increases by 10%. With this skill, the swordman's agility is significantly enhanced. It has a great counteractive effect on rangers and mages who enjoy flying kites. Kuriko saw such a rare skill book and immediately expressed her desire to have one too. Fengshe smiled and said, Flame Tiger will deliver what you want to us. Kuriko then picked up the fallen ore from the ground. He saw a dark green ore on the ground. He picked it up and asked, Feng, what is this starstone? Fengshe heard starstone and abruptly turned to look at him. Kuriko, your luck is too good. You can even pick up something like this. All monsters in the world have a chance of dropping a starstone, with the probability being 1 in a million. Kuriko immediately became excited. It's so rare to drop. What is the use of this starstone? It must be very valuable. Fengshe smiled slightly and turned around. It's meant for eating, but not for players to eat. You'll understand in the future. However, this stone has no use for now, so it's not valuable. Kuriko was a bit puzzled. Who would eat stones? But Fengshe refused to explain, so there must be a reason. Therefore, he stopped asking. Later, the two arrived at the blacksmith's shop. Fengshe handed over all the meteorite, or without keeping a single one. This is a quest item. Even if sold to an NPC, it is worthless. Master Jack saw the full pile of ores and immediately expressed his approval to Fengshe. Then he confidently said, To become an excellent blacksmith, you need enough power to obtain precious ores. In the Crimson Star Mine, there is a powerful Gnoll chieftain. Go and kill it to prove your power. At the same time, a system prompt popped up, revealing a hidden quest. The Path of Blacksmithing. It requires killing the Gnoll chieftain in the Crimson Star Mine within a time limit of 1 hour. When the unique demon sword appears in the world, either become a god or fall into evil. Someone once wielded a magic artifact to establish an empire. There are also those who were consumed by the power they could not control. Just recently, Notice there are still 2-stage quests. Feng Shi was itching to curse out the crooked deal. This really caused him a lot of harm. Indeed, everyone has reservations. You can't trust that they're all swindlers. A crooked deal in the previous life. There was no mention of a second-stage quest at all. Now a 2-stage time quest has suddenly emerged. It still needs to deal with a boss monster. That is the equivalent of a dungeon boss. It's too deadly for him, who is only at level 3 now. Kuriko noticed Feng Shi's unpleasant expression and couldn't help but show concern. And Feng Shi lightly replied that he had just taken on a quest. Even if he gets tricked, there's nothing he can do about it now. He is not planning to give up. He intends to go and take a look first before making any decisions. Upon hearing this, Kuriko immediately grinned. With Feng around, there's no quest that can't be handled. Feng couldn't help but comment. You didn't say that before. But this quest is very dangerous. You have to listen to me. Later, Feng Shi and Kuriko cleared out the knolls all the way and arrived at the second floor of the Crimson Star Mine. Compared to the knolls outside the mine entrance, the ones inside are no longer level 4, but level 5. As far as the eye can see, there are densely packed knolls all holding battle axes. In order to complete the quest, they must first clear out these troublesome monsters. The duo didn't waste any time and immediately prepared to take action. Immediately following, Feng Shi suddenly unleashed Windchaser. He instantly disappeared from the original spot. Rushed towards the group of monsters. Movement speed and attack speed are greatly increased. He wastes no time. The longsword in his hand dances wildly. The Gnoll group is immediately aggroed by him. Just as the Gnolls were about to gang up on Feng Shi, Kuriko, in the distance, madly unleashed shadow arrows, interrupting the Gnoll's attack. Meanwhile, Feng Shi swiftly shuttles through the pile of monsters, continuously harvesting the low HP Gnolls. Although it takes some time and effort to kill them, thankfully there is enough black iron ale. Gnoll has been downgraded to level 2. With the collaboration of the two, the nearby Gnolls were quickly cleared out. Kuriko looked somewhat proud. The small Gnolls are completely negligible. And Feng Shi shook his head. It would be so simple. The big guy hasn't shown up yet. Just at that moment, suddenly, there was a rumbling sound from deep inside the cave. Kuriko panicked instantly upon hearing the noise. It seems like a monster is approaching. Only to see that enormous foot. Each step caused the ground to shatter. Feng Shi looked at the boss and said slowly, "This is the target we are going to kill this time." I saw a huge body, holding a giant battle axe. A white-furred Gnoll slowly walked out wearing heavy armor. Gnoll Chieftain level 5 HP 2100. Skill, Armor. It is almost impossible for physical attacks to cause high damage. Skill, Regeneration. Can restore 42 HP every 5 seconds. Its huge body can also resist various negative effects. Crushing Attack. Its attacks are difficult to be parried. Kuriko was instantly filled with fear. This powerful boss is not something players at the current stage can defeat. It's impossible to take it down unharmed with a smoke bomb. The boss monster has an extremely wide field of vision, and there is also a time limit requirement. There are only 19 minutes left until the quest ends. However, at this moment, the Gnoll Chieftain suddenly let out a roar. He is eager to launch an attack. Kuriko had no confidence at all when facing the huge Gnoll Chieftain. Not to mention its terrifying HP, the massive battle axe on its back alone is chilling. If hit by this axe, one would surely be turned into mincemeat on the spot. Feng Shi doesn't know if he can complete this quest, but he cannot give up. Because once this hidden quest fails, there will never be a second chance to obtain it. To kill the Gnoll Chieftain, one can only engage in a head-on battle. Without hesitation, he opened his backpack directly. Feng Shi reluctantly took out the magic artifact Abyss Dweller. At this point, I can only give it a try. After all, they are only 2 people. And their equipment is very poor. It's simply impossible to kill the Knoll in 20 minutes. In the previous life, Fengshe has seen only a few magic artifacts with his own eyes. Anyone who has seen the power of a magic artifact will be overwhelmed by its power. Those who can control a magic artifact are even rarer. Crimson Blood War God once rose to fame in a guild battle of over 100,000 people, creating the magnificent War God Empire. At that time, Crimson Blood War God wielded the blood-colored magic artifact, the Crimson Demon Great Axe, and charged into a warrior legion of thousands, killing in all directions. No one could stop the mighty axe of Crimson Blood War God, causing the enemy guild to flee in disarray. It can be said that he was a lone warrior blocking 10,000 enemies. But there are also many who were backlashed by magic artifacts. Frenzied Ranger Wind-Chasing Arrow wielded the magic artifact Demon's Roar, guarding a city alone with a bow, keeping numerous players at bay. Not a single person could approach within 100 yards of the city. Unfortunately, in the end, he was backlashed by the magic artifact and ultimately became a slave to the weapon. Those who control magic artifacts are all top experts with renowned reputations in the realm, inspiring awe in others. Just at this moment, a system prompt popped up. Would you like to bind the magic artifact Abyss Dweller? Fengshe took a deep breath suddenly. He chose to bind it. As for the backlash effects of the magic artifact, he didn't care at the moment. Since those people could control magic artifacts, how could he, as a reincarnator, lose to them? In the moment of choosing to bind, a warning immediately popped up from the system. The binding cannot be undone. All consequences will be borne by the player. Fengshe was now in a binding state. Countless dark energies surged out from the demon's sword, tightly wrapping around him. Soon after, a terrifying roar of a dragon resounded. The energy surging out from the demon's sword transformed into a fierce Black Dragon King. The next moment, the Black Dragon King slowly dissipated, returning back into the demon's sword. At the same time, the system prompt sounded. The magic artifact Abyss Dweller bound successfully. Just at the moment after the binding, Fengshe clearly felt that all the power in his body had been sucked away. His level kept dropping rapidly, instantly dropping to level 0. On the side, Kuriko also looked shocked at Fengshe. "Feng, don't scare me. How did you become level 0? At this moment, a surge of power emanated from Fengshe's body, spreading throughout his entire being. He is now even stronger than when he was at level 3. He smiled faintly. No need to worry. His current state is countless times better than before. When the one-of-a-kind demon sword appeared in the world, either become a god or fall into demonhood. Someone once wielded a magic artifact to establish an empire. Some people were also corrupted by the power that they could not control. Just now, to kill the Knoll chieftain and complete the quest, Fengshe took a risk by choosing to bind the magic artifact Abyss Dweller. Even though the level was reduced to 0, but gained even more powerful power. He quickly checked the attributes of Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller one-hand sword magic artifact attack power plus 24 all attributes plus 10 attack speed plus 3 ignore monster level by 5 levels 15% chance to deal double damage when attacking 10% chance to inflict a curse of misfortune all attributes reduced by 30% lasts for 20 seconds swordman job holders receive a plus 2 increase in all skill levels gain 2 extra free attribute points per level skill. Illusionary Strike Abyss Bind 9-headed dragon Strike Abyss Dweller is cursed by the Black Dragon King. Besides granting the holder amazing power, it will periodically backlash against the holder. Meanwhile, Knoll chieftain suddenly let out a resounding roar that echoed to the ends of the earth. As the summoning skill is activated, the sound of whooshing continued to echo on the field. Countless Knolls were summoned out. No need for the Knoll chieftain's command. The summoned Knolls rushed towards the players on the field. Fengshe couldn't wait to have a sword fight with the Knoll. He quickly signaled Kuriko to hide in a safe place. Just at that moment, several Knoll warriors had already pounced in front of him, blocked off all his retreat paths. Fengshe, however, remained calm. Slowly raising the demon sword in hand, a mighty demonic aura burst forth from the sword. With a casual wave of the demon's sword in his hand, several black rays flashed out. The approaching Null warrior froze in midair and was instantly killed. Kuriko was instantly shocked by this powerful attack, staring wide-eyed in disbelief. At the same time, seeing his younger brother being slaughtered, the Null chieftain couldn't sit still either. He suddenly raised the giant axe in his hand and swung it towards Fengshi's position. Fengshi easily dodged with a sidestep. Looking at the small human in front of him, he could actually dodge his attack so easily. The Null chieftain immediately gritted his teeth and stood up. Shortly after, its huge axe fell again from its hand. Fengshi, suspended in midair, was unable to dodge. Was immediately chopped in half. Kuriko broke out in a cold sweat at the sight, looking at the scene in disbelief. However, at that moment, Fengshi, who had been split in half, turned into a dark energy and slowly dissipated on the spot. This was the effect of the skill Illusionary Strike. This skill can instantly create a clone. Players can control this clone, which possesses 50% of the original entity's attributes and skills. The original entity and the clone can also switch places. Lasts for 30 seconds. Cooldown time is 5 minutes. Null chieftain was shocked by this scene. His eyeballs were almost popping out. In the blink of an eye, a sudden swoosh sound was heard. Fengshi was surrounded by astonishing demonic energy. He raised the Abyss Dweller in his hand and appeared next to the Null chieftain. Shortly after, a flash of red light appeared in Fengshi's eyes. Abyss Dweller suddenly burst out with a loud, piercing buzz. A large amount of magic energy surged wildly. The next second, as Windchaser was activated, Null chieftain hadn't reacted yet, when Fengshi turned into a black light and struck his neck. Immediately, a terrifying damage value of up to 105 points appeared. And Fengshi's long sword didn't stop, swiftly striking out several times. Wherever the sword edge passed, dozens of damage points appeared one after another. Right after that, Fengshi, who was suspended in midair, suddenly raised the demon's sword in his hand, along with his angry shout. The demon's sword once again erupted with several astonishing devilish auras. The next second, Stormflash suddenly hacked out 3 fierce and sharp dark red sword auras, piercing through the massive body of the Null chieftain. This move instantly knocked off more than 300 of its HP. In just a moment, its health bar has already been reduced by more than half. The Null chieftain, heavily wounded by Fengshi's surprise attack, is very angry. It suddenly widened its struggling dog eyes. Immediately, it burst out with a deafening roar. The fresh blood flowing from the wound became its stimulant. Its entire body hair turned bright red. Entered a furious state with doubled attack power. However, at this moment, Fengshi is holding the demon sword Abyss Dweller, causing his attributes to greatly increase. With his current speed, he is very confident that he can easily dodge any attack. Next, the Null chieftain's eyes emit a fierce light. Suddenly raised the giant axe in his hand and chopped down towards Fengshi. The moment the giant axe fell to the ground, stones splintered and the entire area was smashed into pieces. Fengshi awkwardly leaped into the air to barely avoid the impact. However, at this moment, the Null chieftain took a sidestep and quickly arrived in front of Fengshi. The Null chieftain suddenly revealed a mocking smile. Entered into a swift blessing state. Attack speed immediately doubled. Then it began to swing the battle axe frantically. Both attack speed and power were increased to terrifying levels. With each attack, a deep axe mark appeared on the ground. Stones scattered as the relentless strikes continued one after another, overwhelming the opponent. Fengshi immediately felt a sharp increase in pressure. Such a frenzy of attacks would instantly take down even a level 5 defensive warrior and a protection paladin. Just at that moment, a shadow arrow suddenly exploded on the head of the Null chieftain. Although it only caused 30 points of damage, but it also interrupted his attack. Kuriko was very eager to relieve Fengshi's pressure. However, seeing this damage, he was also shocked by the leader's unusual defense power. 30 points of damage. Compared to Feng Shi's damage of over 100 points, the difference made him feel somewhat desperate. At the same time, Noel Chieftain also noticed the person who had just ambushed him. Its terrifying dog eyes were fixed firmly on Kuriko. Feng Shi felt a sense of impending danger. He hurriedly reminded Kuriko to escape quickly for his life. As soon as the words fell, the Noel Chieftain actually gave up on Feng Shi directly. Turned around and grinning, he rushed towards Kuriko. Kuriko's legs instantly turned weak, and he collapsed on the ground. He had never expected that his playful scratching attack would draw aggro. Immediately after, a piercing sound was heard. The giant axe wielded by the Noel Chieftain created a gust of air as it swung. Suddenly fell towards Kuriko. Most likely won't survive. Already prepared to hand over their first blood. However, just at this moment, several swooshing sounds suddenly rang out. Countless iron chains formed by dark energy emerged from the void. Seeing Kuriko on the verge of death, Feng Shi dared not hold back any longer. He directly used Abyss Bind. At this moment, the Noel Chieftain was already bound by the pitch-black chains from the abyss, completely unable to move. This skill can immobilize the target for 3 seconds and reduce defense by 100%. He was originally the terrifying sword magician that made people tremble at the mention of his name. After a miraculous reincarnation, he unexpectedly took the risk of being backlashed and chose to bind with the magic artifact Abyss Dweller. All of this is just to trample fiercely on those who betrayed him in his previous life. Just now, as Kuriko was about to lose his life under the giant axe, Feng Shi directly used Abyss Bind to turn the situation around. Feng Shi breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing the successful rescue. The impact of hanging up in the early stages would be too significant for Kuriko. 3 seconds go by in the blink of an eye. After the Noel Chieftain let out a roar. Then it tore apart all the chains wrapped around its body. At the same time, Feng Shi also moved. He leaped forward and instantly appeared near the Noel Chieftain. He suddenly raised the Abyss Dweller in his hand. Quickly activated the Windchaser skill. Feng Shi instantly turned into a black light, hitting the head of the Noel Chieftain directly. With a loud bang, the Noel Chieftain was knocked out briefly. Kuriko did not hesitate at all and turned around to run away directly. This kind of terrifying battle left him with no room for intervention. Soon, the Noel Chieftain who had come back to his senses quickly locked onto Feng Shi's position. His hand suddenly crackled. A sharp flash of lightning quickly condensed in his hand. Feng Shi suddenly felt something was amiss. Even though he was holding a magic artifact, he was not invincible. The next second, that terrifying electric light flashed by. Feng Shi quickly dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding being grazed by it. The attack methods of the chieftain-level boss are varied. It already possesses intelligence. If one move misses, the battle axe in its hand strikes again towards Feng Shi's position. Feng Shi does not dare to relax at all. He quickly creates distance. Just after a short moment of exchange, he feels as if it has been an incredibly long time, like a century has passed. The Noel Chieftain suddenly roared angrily, opening its massive jaws wide. A strange energy orb emerged from within. As the sound of cries and roars echoed out, countless fierce giant dogs leaped out from that ball of light. The giant dogs immediately pounced towards Feng Shi's position as soon as they landed. At the same time, there are only 2 minutes left for the quest time limit. Feng Shi suddenly felt a sharp increase in pressure. He doesn't have time to deal with these small fries now. If things continue like this, the quest is definitely going to fail. If he wants to turn the tide, there is no choice but to use the 9-headed dragon strike. However, he is not sure how long his current spirit power can last. The spirit power in the realm is different from other attributes. If it is excessively consumed, players will experience severe pain symptoms. Once the spirit power is depleted in the game, they will be forced to exit the game. However, at this time, there is no time to consider other things. He is determined to complete this quest. At the moment when the nine-headed dragon strike was launched, a mysterious Duskwraith array with 9 illusions of Abyss Dweller suddenly appeared beneath Feng Shi. Quietly drifting in midair, they surrounded him. The nine-headed dragon strike can instantly create 9 illusions of Abyss Dweller swords for the wielder to use. Each illusion sword can inflict 30% damage. At the same time, the swiftly approaching giant dogs have already reached Feng Shi's front. The next second, 9 Abyss Dwellers flying and shuttling in the air, just like mischievous elves, continuously piercing through the bodies of those giant dogs. Although Feng Shi cannot completely control the 9 swords. However, using the 9 swords for simple attacks is still fine. After clearing away the obstacles, Feng Shi immediately controls the 9 Abyss Dwellers. Shoot towards the Null Chieftain. 9 Abyss Dwellers fly rapidly in an instant. The sound of breaking the void sounds loud as it sweeps away. The large figure of the Null Chieftain is immediately considered as a target. 9 Abyss Dwellers keep attacking. Single-digit decimal values keep popping up one by one. Although the damage is very low, there are a large number of them. Just being bombarded for a moment, Null Chieftain's HP has dropped to the last few hundred points. Just at this moment, 9 Abyss Dwellers stopped attacking. Quickly fly towards Feng Shi's location. In an instant, Abyss Dweller was once again suspended in front of him. He raised the Abyss Dweller in his hand high, preparing to deliver the final blow to the Null Chieftain. However, just at that moment, Feng Shi's head suddenly experienced a sharp and intense pain. His spirit power was almost depleted. The 9 Abyss Dwellers slowly dissipated in place. The sudden onset of severe pain made him unable to stand steadily, causing him to collapse to the ground. At the same time, system warnings kept popping up. Once his spirit power reaches 0, he will be forced to exit the game and will be restricted from logging in. Kuriko hurried over and asked with concern, "Phone, what's wrong?" And the Null Chieftain seemed to have noticed Feng Shi's embarrassment. A trace of mockery appeared on that fierce dog-like face. Slowly walked towards Feng Shi, who was struggling to stand up. Kuriko hurriedly began persuading Feng Shi to give up the quest. "If we fail here, the losses will be significant." And Feng Shi is panting wildly to calm down his own state. Do we really have to give up? In the previous life, I worked tirelessly as a shadow guide, established countless territories for others. Yet, I was discarded like trash. I don't know if it's the grace of God or a turning point in fate. It gave me a chance to start over. How could I easily give up here? In this lifetime, I will rewrite my tragic fate. He struggled to prop himself up and used the skill Illusionary Strike. In an instant, a shadowy doppelganger appeared 3 yards away from him. He then used the gravity release skill. Together with the shadow clone, they swiftly launched an attack. The shadow clone and Feng Shi stomped on the ground. They quickly leaped towards the Null Chieftain. Feng Shi and the shadow clone simultaneously lifted Abyss Dweller high. Initiate the attack. Watching the 2 figures approaching rapidly, the Null Chieftain's dog eyes suddenly widened. In the blink of an eye, it hadn't even reacted yet. Feng Shi and his clone had already plunged the Abyss Dweller in their hands into its dog eyes. Immediately Feng Shi and his clone swung the Abyss Dweller wildly. Attack speed reaching the extreme. Suddenly, Null Chieftain let out a series of howls. And the Null Chieftain let out a furious roar, going completely berserk. It swiftly swung the battle axe in its hand to interrupt Feng Shi's attack. Feng Shi dodged the axe, which flew at him like an arrow. As it was about to hit the ground, he suddenly stepped on the clone. Immediately after that, he exerted all his strength, using the clone as a foothold. Like an arrow shot from a bow, quickly shoot towards the Null Chieftain. The next moment, that dark Abyss Dweller suddenly emitted a strange red light. Between the spark of electricity and light, Feng Shi once again uses Windchaser. He turned into a terrifying dark red blade of light. directly piercing through the Knoll Chieftain. The last strand of HP for the Knoll Chieftain. Finally taken away by Feng Shi. Overall, a boss monster that is more than 4 times stronger than the elite. The comic commentator Guan fell in front of the powerful magic artifact. A system prompt sounded. Killing a level 5 Knoll Chieftain grants 500% more experience than killing monsters of the same level. You obtain 2,350 XP. Congratulations. You have become the first player in the realm to slay a boss monster. The drop rate of Knoll Chieftain is increased by 200%. Reputation with the Star Moon Kingdom has increased by 10 points. At this moment, Kuriko sat slumped on the ground. Not being able to help at all this time made him feel somewhat uncomfortable.